What's up, everyone? As you guys know, a little over a year ago, I went on an absolutely epic adventure. We went all the way down to Tennessee. We got to meet Uncle Tony, John Wilburn, Lamb Chop, and a lot of other guys that came and helped build that 318. We took that 318 up to Nick's garage, and we got to meet Nick, George, and all of his guys up there. And we had an absolute blast. And the reason why I bring this up is because I've been working on exactly what we're going to want to do with this 89 Toyota Supra. Now we are, of course, doing the 1UZ FE swap. The engine's pretty much ready to get dropped in as soon as we get the adapters. And before we do that, something that Uncle Tony says, and I think that would be technically his expression, his phrase, which was build anything, race everything. And I really want to make this car more competitive, whether we take it around an autocross course or down a drag strip. But I also don't want to sacrifice drivability. So what I was thinking about it, because as you know, this was one of the very top end, had an automatic transmission. We did switch that out 11 years ago to a manual. It has the 373 rear end, which is very respectable, but all in all, like the ABS, there's a lot of stuff that we don't need, and quite honestly, I think makes it less competitive. And keeping that phrase in mind, and I totally agree with it, we really need to do a few things. One, as you can see, I found a 91 Toyota Supra with no ABS system because it was the absolute bare bones model. So we have all of the stuff that we need to convert this car over to standard brakes and delete the ABS. We also got a couple other things, but the biggest thing that I found that was just a dumbstruck of luck, an actual, like this was an LSD, a limited slip differential, this one is as well, but this one was out of a non-turbo, and it's 430. Now the cool thing about it is we will sacrifice a little bit of top end, but not a whole heck of a lot. The R154 transmission has a final gear of 0.75, and with the 25-inch wheel size, so from dirt to top, the whole diameter of that wheel will be 25 inches. We'll have about 58 miles per hour at 2,500 RPM. So switching that over will definitely help out with the 60-foot, getting off the line in autocross, or anything else we're going to want to do. Heck, if we want to start learning how to drift in this thing before the drift truck is done, heck, we can try it out. It'll definitely do a lot better burnouts, and I'm still really excited about this because it was a really dumb luck. I found it for 250 bucks with all of the other parts we needed, and it just needs to be cleaned up. So let's go ahead, get this cleaned up, and get them swapped out. So pretty much all we're going to start out with is some good old-fashioned degreaser, and then we'll move to some rust remover. Now that we got most of the grease and dirt and everything out of it, it's time to remove the rust. Once we derusted it, we scrubbed her down with some more purple power. Then I washed her with some soap and water, some isopropyl alcohol, and then we used some high temp self-etching primer. And now we actually have some, actually I put black brake caliper paint on it because I didn't have any black engine paint, but it'll be fine. It'll be beautiful. It'll be a beautiful thing. So once this is all done, cured up, we'll go ahead and we'll bolt her onto the car. Like I said last night, it did take a while to get this thing cleaned up, and it was definitely in need of a needle scaler. When it was done, it looked like a brand new casting. However, these old studs in here were pretty nasty, and they weren't really cooperating too much when I was taking them apart. So I figured, why not just go ahead, be proactive. I called up Toyota. The closest Toyota dealership that would ship them in was in Burlington, Vermont, so about 50 minutes from here. And we're going to put all new studs in it. When I drive home, I'm going to put them in an ice chest with a lot of ice because I want them to shrink a tiny bit before I get home and install them. Once they're in, though, we'll go ahead and bolt this inside of the car, and we'll have more skids per mile. And that means more smiles per mile. But for today, obviously, not really the nicest of days. She's been raining on and off, so I'm not going to be working in the engine bay. I have a lot of open connectors that I don't want to get all wet. Inside here, we have the steering wheel out of the SC400. We're going to go ahead and upgrade the original steering wheel with that. It's a nice steering wheel, and you know, if we ever want to put this back in, we would have to get this thing restored because it is a bit rough. It's a lot nicer than the 88 style steering wheel and the 1991-92 steering wheel. I can't stand it. They're as big as the Jeep Wrangler steering wheels. They're hideous, but that's not a bad looking one. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to pop this off, put the new one on, or new to us, and we have to go back and scavenge a few more parts off the Supra that's being parted out. So let's go ahead, take care of that, and move forward. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go ahead and remove where the horn is. Now this, of course, does not have an airbag in it, so we just have to go ahead, get to the 3 screws. We're going to go ahead and use our puller, set this up. Two hours later, all right, slide that right in there. Back her off a little bit more. Realize I don't have the socket for that. Nope. There we go. Slide that on like that.
think about where I put my Ugga Dugga. There it is.
That was the same one. And just like that. She's off. Now, we have to put the other one on. Also, don't just stick this anywhere because you will lose all the parts out of it, Brian. Not a good idea. Tools are expensive enough, let alone having to buy them a couple times. You know, expensive enough. Then I'll set them there and I'll look for it the next time I need it, because I won't remember. I had to do a slight modification to the original clip here. This one was already cracked, so not too worried about damaging this any further than it already had been. Went ahead and I actually soldered in the original connector off of this thing that went on the piece for the SC400. We just slide that right up inside here. Perfect. Now all we have to go ahead and do is bolt this to it with the original nut that was on here. And once that's on there, we'll be able to put the finishing plate and the steering wheel. So there it is. I was gonna say, where did I do with that? Right there. Make sure we have full thread engagement. We most certainly do. Give her a quick Ugga Dugga, torque her down. Quick little and then this stuff okay, there we go. Let's say I don't see the little rubberized plastic piece here. Yep. Like that. Like that. Slide that in there. Make sure everything's inside. Now once we get a battery put in here, which we are going to be moving the battery to the trunk, once again for better weight. Leveling, balancing, there you go. Also, clean up the engine bay a little bit. I mean, these cars are already pretty small. We want to make sure that they're not so darn cluttered. Part of the reason why we're getting rid of the ABS. Other part is because I just really can't stand it. All right, how's our wheels? Are pretty straight. Oh. Fries are done. So we may have to play with its orientation a tiny bit because it should be pretty close to straight as it is. How's the wheels? What? I would say that's pretty darn good. Beep beep. So I was kind of wondering what I'd be able to do today to finish that up, and I was going to put the strut tower brace in it, and oh boy, that turned into quite the rabbit hole. And all in all, this thing is still in phenomenal shape. Very little rust all throughout the entire car. Well, one of the things I did years ago as a preventative for rust, is because this area is known for rotting out, is I pour 15 the bottom and the top of this, and it decided to still rot out. But the other spots where they're known to rot out, right through here, you know, all that's fine. All through there is fine. But yeah, we're gonna have to zip that out and do a repair. All in all, that's a small repair compared to what we're used to. This section is not going to be used for a tire. We are going to mount a battery inside here. That way we can eventually also move our fuse box, kind of like how BMW and Audi does it. Well, BMW puts it inside there. We're going to put it inside here, more like Audi. The goal will be to mount the battery here and eventually mount the, like I was saying, other stuff right there. But we want to kind of get ourselves a even distribution of weight by adding the battery in the center. And a big shout out to Rich. He actually just parted out a car and it had a mount that should fit right there. With a little bit of finagling, it will fit perfectly. So while we do this repair, this probably will end up being flat. But I don't think there would be any issue with the fuel tank below. We will drop the fuel tank because we don't want to burn this thing down into the ground, and we'll replace the fuel filter, upgrade the fuel pump while we're in there. And the reason why the interior has been pulled from this car, good Lord, this car has only been outside for the better part of, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years. It was sitting in that side of the garage before going outside. And apparently the chipmunks really loved it. And oh my God. I mean, the Buick Electra had this much rodent stuff in it. And fortunately, you know, I was able to remedy it within a reasonable amount of time. So no, this wasn't full. This was fine. But all through here was full. I mean, oh my God. Underneath the back seat was just a fortress for them. So yeah, we pulled this all apart because we want to now go through and scrub this all and make it nice and clean again. And that was disgusting. We'll pull out other interior components tomorrow as well. We'll scrub this all up, get it all nice and clean. I have isopropyl alcohol in here, so I've been kind of spraying this as I go so that I, you know, kill any type of bacteria. House spiders apparently are immune to it. But yeah, these things are great. You know, this is more for just prepping metalwork, but you spray that in there. Sanitize all this wonderful mess, but just to see how bad this is. This was pretty much empty before today, and I mean, she's just about full to about right there. Just all kinds of crap brought in by the mice. They did some damage to the seat, as you can see. They really chewed 2 little domes. Very disappointed by that. Hopefully we can go ahead and try to do some repair to it. That way it's, you know, not going to have a weird flat spot for someone to sit in it. not. I think the only people going to sit in this are going to be the two twins and eventually Teddy. But they did some damage to one of these as well. They chewed through some of the material on the bottom. But oh, also for some reason I'm missing a bracket. So when I go and get a few more things off of that car that's being farmed out, I'll remember to try to grab some of that and see if this is still intact on theirs. I think both of mine are broken, but yep, good times. Not real good times, but good times. So that's all I have for you today. Hopefully you have a wonderful day. And remember, if you're looking to support the channel, we have a lot of great merchandise, including 100 available. Once I sell 100 of the t-shirts with the satellite, it's gone for good. And we do have the GS t-shirt. So if you guys are interested in supporting the channel, there's the great merchandise over at Teespring. There should be a little merch shelf down below, and I'll put it in the description down below. Until the next time, remember, keep your shiny side up, and God bless.